This was originally 4 separate videos, but I combined them all into one. One, because I feel like the different stopping points, even though they're great, I feel like they mash better together here. And also, I'm so far ahead of Dr. Stone, literally 10 chapters away from the ending. I don't know how Dr. Stone ends. I don't know who the Y-Man is. And we got to get to the tier list. And there's some other manga I want to get into and talk to you guys about. So I'm like, let's catch up these videos, especially because I'm a little bit further ahead. So speculation is a little bit harder. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's talk about Dr. Stone, chapters 170 to 175. The enemy of the enemy is the Y-Man. Hey guys, welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm your host Shinry, here with Everything Anime Podcast, starting from anime, manga, video games, TV shows, and everyone on the topic I'm talking about. Today's video is again on Dr. Stone, chapters 170 to 175. The enemy of my enemy is the Y-Man. Now, where we last left off, we managed to capture Dr. Zeno and escape New America, or the New City America arc. With Zeno, we had to split our crew up though. I think our crew just basically consists of, I don't want to name off all of our characters again, but I know it's like Taiju, Chrome, Zeno, Senku, Francios. I think Yukio's with them. Pretty sure Yukio's with them. Tsukasa, Hyoga. Like, basically our main team has escaped with Zeno, and then Stanley Sanders is going to chase after us. We barely avoided him, and then the other half of our crew remains behind with, Stanley, Zeno's team, aside from Stanley Snyder. I think Stanley Snyder has a few people going with them, but like aside from Stanley Snyder, and they're making Corn City. They're going to make the revival fluid that's going to bring back 1 million people, which makes sense because where I'm at, with, again, 10 chapters left in Dr. Stone, and I have not continued because I want you guys to catch up with me. We're just 10 chapters up. I was like, yeah, at this point, we have to revive 1 million people because Dr. Stone's almost over. And we haven't even made it to the moon yet. I don't even know how we're getting to the moon yet still. Anyways, guys, let's get into this video. So, even though we escaped Stanley Sanders, it doesn't mean he's going to give up and just let us go. Like, he let us slide because of our bluff with the, saying like, oh, the Medusa weapons are petrified. Don't activate it if you don't let them escape. He shot down the Medusa weapon and let it fall into the sea. And he let them escape, but he swore he's going to go out to Stanley Sanders. That's his best friend. He's going to chase you down so he's going to kill all of us. And so we are out trying to outrun him. Meanwhile, Nikki has formed negotiations with Dr. Brody in the Kingdom of North America to revive 1 million people and, join together temporarily to create this revival fluid, or bring back 1 million people so we can build a spaceship to get to get to the moon, so we can find out who the Y-Man is, ask him all these questions, why he's doing this, yada, 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 because we still don't know. And so that's where our current stakes are, as I said in the beginning. Now, following this, immediately 2 things happen. Kenro notices that Genro is missing from the group, which is no surprise to me because he's the first one to, run for his life. Like, he's basically the Usopp of... I know current Usopp is brave and he's willing to fight and stuff like that, but he's like former Usopp. Like, this is Genro pre-becoming God Usopp. So, based on his actions on Treasure Island, I was like, I'm not expecting much from Genro, but it could be a subversion of expectations. I mean, we've seen how, when things don't go exactly as planned in Dr. Stone, there's always, some kind of thing that, works in our favor. So I was like, maybe Genro's going to come back and play, a major role. The second person missing is Matsukaze, who collapsed from his wounds. Oh, yeah, no, Matsukaze is the second thing that happens. He collapsed from his wounds and is taken on board the ship with Stanley Snyder, who is going after Senku and Zeno. So Matsukaze got captured as a hostage. He's like, you're one of the strong ones. You're one of their strongest warriors. We're going to take you with you. You're going to be a part of our negotiations to get Zeno back. Obviously, we're going to start to trade you off for Zeno. Though he's whispering something intangible to the others, Matsukaze, that he has some sort of plan. The others watching Matsukaze get dragged away, they're like, Matsukaze, how can we help you? And he's like, whatever he's saying. He's basically doing Tozen from Bleach, whispering and shit. But he does have a plan. Stanley, however, is like, if he's about to die from his wounds, we'll just toss him overboard into the sea. Yeah, we want to use you as a hostage to get Zeno back, but if you die before we get to Zeno, I'll just throw your ass overboard. If you survive, we'll use you as a hostage, but it don't matter to me. Like, either way, you're going to die. You know. However, once he's taken on board of Stanley Snyder's ship, we learn two more things. Yes, he is injured, and he isn't faking it, but Genro was hiding on board. So that's where Genro was. So, yes, the author was having something in store with Genro. And we kind of knew that because Genro, when he was on the Kingdom of Petrification, he did actually help us, trick Irabara in a sense, in a way, and recover our mobile lab. Hilariously, we learned from Genro that he remained on the ship not because he wanted to be a hero, but he happened to get left behind after he was hiding prior to the attack. So yeah, Genro once again is in a situation where he didn't choose to be in this situation; he just got stuck in it. And again, Genro hilariously. How when he jumped into the sea, pretending like he was going to go after the ship to the Kingdom of Petrification, he was like, oh, I'll look like a hero to these ladies, and then I'll be like, I didn't make it. But then I think Tydra was like, someone's overboard, and Tydra goes to save him, and Genro was like, no, you idiot. So, yeah, Genro, once again, he wasn't trying to be a hero. He wasn't trying to sneak on Stanley's ship to, save everybody. He's stuck on Stanley's ship because that's the only place he can find to hide. Fucking Genro is hilarious. I love it. Matsukaze, however, believes that Genro was doing this in a noble way to overthrow the enemy, which is even more hilarious because Genro just runs with it. Matsukaze thought Genro did this because he was brave. Matsukaze still sees Genro as his, former master, the ancestor that he once tried to protect but failed. Or not failed, but he couldn't protect because, he got injured and all the Medusa weapons were raining down from the sky and he was outnumbered. So he sees Genro as that, but Genro is just like, oh, yeah, I totally was trying to be a hero. You'll protect me. I'm safe from Stanley Snyder as long as you're here. However, it seems that the team going after Zeno has access to planes, and we know that these planes can easily catch up to a ship. So I was like, this isn't good unless somehow these planes have already been sabotaged, because a plane is going to catch up to a ship within seconds or within minutes. It don't matter how much of a head start Senku has. Them planes are going to catch him. But obviously, we know that these planes had to be sabotaged or are sabotaged in some way. But they're first going to find out where Senku and the others are going. So they interrogate Matsukaze, who isn't budging. They're like, Matsukaze, you know where Senku and the others are going. I don't know. You might not be with them now, but you are a part of that Kingdom of Science. You know where they're headed. Where would they take Zeno? Where would they be going? Because, I guess the other reason is, we do have even though we have access to planes, we can't just fly into the ocean all haphazardly, because the ocean's, huge, We need to know, a direction or, what their objective is. But since they don't know Genro is on board, this could be their advantage. I was thinking because, okay, you know about Matsukaze. Matsukaze is your hostage, but Matsukaze is the only one that knows that Genro is on the ship. So, though Stanley Snyder is threatening to kill Matsukaze if he doesn't talk, we know that he's bluffing. Like he said, you're going to be our hostage to trade Zeno. But if you do die, or you just happen to die, we'll throw you overboard. He's not going to intentionally kill you when, one, you have information about where they're going, and then, two, we could possibly use you as a hostage. You're not dead yet, so if I kill you now, what's the whole point of holding you as a hostage? If you tell me where they're going, I still have to hold you hostage to try to get Zeno back, to try to use you as leverage. But if you don't don't tell me where they're going, I still use the hostage. However, Genro bravely or stupidly, depending on how you see it, not only reveals his location, but shouts that they're going to South America, the origin of the petrification beam. I think in my original videos of Dr. Stone and the petrification beam, I said South Africa, but it's South America. Which I guess makes sense, because if they were in Japan and the origin was in Africa, they could have just went straight down. But since North America was across the sea and South America is just below it, that makes more sense. That makes the travel. Otherwise, it'd be oh, we just made it to North America, now we're gonna go back to South Africa. Whereas we made it to North America, now we're just gonna go south. So that makes sense. And here's where Senku presents a theory that I thought too, that there could be one massive Medusa weapon that caused the petrification around the entire world. It could be one massive Medusa weapon. That's what I theorize. But because it's mentioned by the characters, we know it's probably not going to be that. Just like how the Y-Man, how he had Senku's voice, or made a synthetic voice of Senku. It can't be Senku's father, we don't think, because that'd be too obvious. They've already named it. Or Senku's twin brother, they already named it that too. Even more interesting, however, Zeno is apparently Zeno apparently already knows that the white man is on the moon. Also, this 2-page panel of how Zeno is drawn is very cool. I think it's interesting that Zeno already figured out that the white man's on the moon. Like, Zeno didn't know about the arrival fluid formula, but he knew about the white man being on the moon. I thought that was kind of interesting. This doesn't surprise Senku or Chrome, however, as of course they are the two greatest scientists in the world that could easily figure this out. Like, Senku and Zeno are like the smartest scientists, and then Chrome is the third. But the question is, can they team up to take down the Y-Man? Will Zeno be willing to cooperate with Senku to, like, you know, get to the moon and take down the Y-Man and figure out, like, why he did this? Like, why are you petrifying all the humanity? Why do you leave us all as stone? So as the chapter continues, Senku and Zeno are exchanging information about everything they know so far, starting with the record that Senku's stepfather left behind Byakuya for him nearly 100 chapters ago. Now, originally where that last chapter ended, that was one of the stopping points I was going to end. That was a great stopping point with Zeno team up with Senku to, like, take down the Y-Man. But again, I feel like we have better stopping points. But that was a great stopping point. Let me reiterate that. That was a great stopping point. But now Senku and Zeno, they're exchanging information. Starting with Senku revealing, like, oh yeah, my stepfather left this record, Byakuya. Well, really, Senku sees him as his father. We don't know who Senku's real father is. It still could be the Y-Man. We don't know. But we start with that record. We even see that though Zeno didn't think fondly of Byakuya, he respected him for how clever he was in figuring things out. Like, Zeno thought Byakuya was kind of like just a dumbass. You're just a dumbass astronaut. You got lucky. You got this job by luck. A chimpanzee could do your job. But seeing that Byakuya gathered all this information, gathered all this knowledge, and left it for the current generation that exists, this current Stone Age, he's like, oh, Byakuya, you were pretty impressive. You're pretty smarter than you're smarter than I thought. You even gave Senku Platinium, even if you didn't know what it was. You gave it to him. You were gathering all these resources for the future because you knew Senku would one day wake up and save humanity. I also love how Chrome is feeling left out of this conversation. He images Zeno and Senku having a serious conversation, and he's trying to figure things out. But he goes into the room. He goes into the room that they're talking and blows up their talking bubbles, he goes into the room thinking they're having a serious conversation and they're just blowing bubbles. And Chrome are like, what the hell are you guys doing? You guys are here blowing bubbles? Thought you guys are having like an intelligent conversation. There's a reason why they're blowing bubbles, but we'll get into that in just 1 second. Hold on, guys. I also love how in this meeting of the minds, Chrome's feeling left out because he's like, he imagines Senku and Zeno having a serious conversation, and he's trying to figuring things out, like how the Y-Man got to the moon, what is at the center point of the petrification that caused all of humanity to be petrified. And instead, when he opens the door, he finds them blowing bubbles. It was fucking hilarious. I was like, I did not expect that. But of course, it's not for fun. It's for science. But I love how, like, they teach kids how to make bubbles. Dr. Stone is one of those mangas that, like, really tries to get kids into science, or maybe kids that are into science. And it tells you, like, oh, yeah, you can make these at home. You know, go to the grocery store or something around your house. It really is pretty cool. I haven't personally tried any of these myself, but I would try at least making the bubbles with my nephew or maybe like a little child or something like that. I think it'd be fun. There's been a lot of fun things Dr. Stone has introduced to us. They are, of course, trying to figure out the exact origin of the petrification beam. However, there's something I didn't think about. Obviously, the petrification light isn't halted by buildings, rocks, or like the earth or the sea. So if this beam shot out from South America and covered the whole earth, like, obviously, like, it would go underground. It's not like it's just covering the surface. It's gonna reach underground. Like, you know, people in planes that got hit, people in cars got hit. So, like, and you know, we know people in high school at Senku's school got hit. So it's like, you didn't think like it would go underground. Like, that's what I think. Like, obviously you think it's like the surface, but like, no, this beam covered the whole earth. And so Senku says the beam didn't come from underground. It came from over the horizon, which is accurate because that's how we saw it as well. But they are saying like it can come from the beam can reach underground, but like the beam came from the surface, like it came from over the horizon. So they're trying to pinpoint the location. It's also where we learned that it only took 1 hour to cover the entire Earth, for the entire Earth to be petrified by the beam of light. So literally, from the start of the beam in South America to covering the rest of the Earth, it took 1 hour. Like, could you imagine the rest of the world didn't know what the petrification light was, but just knowing you only had 1 hour left on Earth, like, if we ever hear that, I'm thinking of Riverdale when that meteorite was coming down from the sky. They knew it was coming. It's like that song, like, if you had 5 minutes or something like that. Very cute song. I heard that song a long time, but yeah, that 5-minute song, I love that song. That song is fire. But that's not all. It's not a beam of light at all. As if it was light, it would have covered the earth even faster. As we know, the speed of light is faster than the speed of sound. So that is insane. Like, it's not a light beam. Whatever this was, you know, we're still figuring it out, but it wasn't a beam of light. That's not what petrified us. It wouldn't take it wouldn't take an hour to light up Earth. Like, we know when the sun rises, you know, that beam almost immediately turns the sky blue. Like, you know, and then, you know, we start getting the sunlight and stuff like that. And two, if it was light, it would have hit the space station and turned all six astronauts to stone. Because that's how Lillian and Byakuya and the 4 others survived. They weren't on Earth at the time, and neither was the white man. The white man was in space. So if it was a beam of light like the sun, everybody would have got petrified. It wouldn't matter if you were on Earth or not. No, whatever this luminous substance was, they say it could have been held down by the Earth's gravity. That's why they reached the space shuttle. That's very interesting. So whatever this was, whatever this petrification beam light is, it's affected by gravity. I don't know what that is. I'm not a science major. I don't know if a science major already figured this out. Well, like, I'm just like, what the hell? It just makes it so much more exciting. It's like Laugh Tale. You want to know what Goldie Roger laughed at and all his crew. You know, you want to be Shanks and Buggy, be like, what was it? Why don't you tell us? You know. I won't get into how they figure out the steps, as it's confusing, but for me it's funny as hell that to some, but I'm sure, like I said, it's funny as hell to someone that studies science. Like, someone that studies science probably knows what this is, and they're like laughing their ass off about how creative the story is. Whereas like me, who doesn't know anything about science, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, but I love this manga, so I put that in my notes. I love that. But in the end, with both of their brains combined, they come to the conclusion that the pinpoint of the origin is in South America, specifically the Amazon. So that was pretty fucking cool. That was also a great place to end the chapter, and I could have ended the whole review there. And again, it would have been great, but again, because I'm so far ahead, I just want you guys, I want us to catch up together. I want to finish Dr. Stone so badly. I want to finish it. So just like we actually powered through Demon Slayer towards the end. Like, I remember I was reviewing Demon Slayer and I was going to take my time, and then I eventually just had caught up, and then you guys have finished it with me. So yeah, we're going to power through Dr. Stone, okay? But that was a pretty exciting point that Zeno and Senku were able to figure out the point of origin. Not just specifically in South America, but that it's in the Amazon. So when the chapter continues, we now have 2 objectives. 1 is to reach South America, and 2 is to build a super alloy city that's going to be basically ground zero. It's our next city. We got Corn City. We need Super Alloy City. I'm not sure exactly what that is, and where I'm at, we have not built it yet, but that's what we're working on. Now, getting to ground zero, though, is going to require a lot of stops, as though we don't have a lot of fuel. Like, they're on a ship, but the ship only has so much fuel, and we're also being chased by Stanley Snyder. Don't forget, Stanley Snyder's after Zeno. He's coming for us. So Senku says it'll require a lot of labor along the way to get this done, which, as Gen and all the Kingdom of Science knows by now, Senku is all about that hard work. Like, science is hard work, and I love that. I love that we're seeing in this manga as well. Like, you know, people that call science people nerds and they're not strong. Like, these guys have to put in work to build this stuff. So I really love that. But yeah, so we're on a desperate time crunch because Stanley Snyder can catch up with us at any time. If we fall behind, if we run out of fuel, Stanley Snyder is going to be right on top of us. He's going to attack us. He's going to take Zeno back, and then we lose our leverage. So while they're hard at work, Taiji notices a weird glowing message in the sky that reads hell. I thought this was interesting. I thought it was a Y-man like trying to like reach out to us and inform us, but it turns out it's not. But I did think that was interesting. But Senku and Zeno are actually the ones that are like, no, it's not from the Y-man. This is obviously not him. But Taiju, as well as me, thought that was a Y-man. I want to see more of this Y-man interactions. I love the why? I love that, like, he used Senku's voice and was like, activate 1 second basically the diameter of Earth. Like, just crazy shit from the Y-man. And we still don't know who he is or what his motivation is. But as it turns out, there are kites connected to a tree that someone lit up. Someone else survived the petrification beam. I was like, okay, we know that Byakuya and Lillian and the astronauts, you know, they repopulated Earth. They made Ishigami Village, and then some of Ishigami Village went off, and they, you know, they made the Petrification Kingdom, and, you know, Matsukaze's and Matsukaze's village and all that. But I was like, who else survived? And you know, we just went to Kingdom of North America, and we found out Zeno survived. Zeno basically did the same thing. Well, all his crew did the same thing Senku did, like kept their mind awake. So when the nitrogen acid hit them, their brain was able to like, hey, time to wake up. But I was like, maybe this is another descendant of the 6 astronauts. Maybe this is another survivor of Ishigami Village, or like another native of Ishigami Village. We didn't know. And also, when we get them, they look very strange. It was given reverse Sukiya. I'm going to make sure I show her off for a few seconds. It is a female. I almost thought this was going to be Sukiya's mother, because Sukiya even like said something like that. Like they act similar. They have similar mannerisms. Like they both have like I forgot what she calls it. Sukiya calls it like the squishy vision, or the sticky eyes. Whatever she called, like whenever Sukiya can't see, basically she needs glasses. Like Kenro, like Sukiya, this character needs glasses. But as Senku gets her glasses, we realize she can't be Sukiya's mother at all. Like, she has no relationship to Sukiya, because one, she's a teenager. And in fact, she's from present day, and she even knows Dr. Zeno. Not personally, but she knows of him. She's aware of him. And vice versa, she's a new character whose name is Dr. Chelsea. Or Dr. Chelsea. Again, we will not get that far in the anime. This is a whole new arc that's past the New American City. So we don't know her name, how it's pronounced, but I'm going to call her Dr. Chelsea. Now, she's on the same level as Zeno, as Senku, as far as being a genius. Like, she's pretty smart. Turns out she's a geographer. Like, she knows, like, basically, like, the map. She knows, like, you know, how, like, coordinates and stuff like that around Earth. And it turns out that when Zeno and the others were petrified, she revived 3 years after them. Like, she was around them when they got petrified, and, like, she had kept her mind awake and aware as well. But the only reason she didn't find the Kingdom of Science or the North American Kingdom of Science, is because she was blind and she couldn't read the signs. Because Zeno apparently left the sign like, hey, if you revive yourself, come this way. This is the way to the Northern Kingdom of Science. And because she was blind, because she had the sticky eyes, she went left instead of right. So literally, it was a 50-50 chance 3 years ago that she could have found Zeno's Kingdom of Science and been a part of Zeno's team, but she went left. So that's fucking hilarious. I love that. But it's thanks to her we're able to create a direct shortcut to the origin point, but we aren't going to be able to trek it in our giant mobile lab that easily through this forest. Like, the Amazon forest is not made for the mobile lab. So she's like, we're going to need another way to get there. Walking on foot's going to take a long time, even with my shortcut. So we're going to need something smaller, thinner, lightweight, but fast. So what do we build next? If you said a motorcycle, you're either psychic or a secret genius. When I read that we're making motorcycles next, I was like, oh, this is so cool. As a kid, I always wanted a motorcycle. As an adult, I still want a motorcycle, but I know how dangerous they are. But I still want one. I don't care how dangerous they are. I still want to ride one. But I thought it was really cool. And that was another ending point that we were going to end off on. But instead, we're going to end with, after these final fourth array of notes. But yeah, so these are the 3 chapters so far that I would have made stopping points for, because they are great talking points. Zeno and Senku decided to team up and figure out where the origin is. They found out where the origin is. Another one where, we confirmed the origin in the next one. They had teamed up in that previous one. And then this one, they decided to make motorcycles. So 3 great ending points. But again, I figured this is where it all ends pretty perfectly in my opinion. So we last left off in my notes, the Kingdom of Science is working on motorcycles to piece speed to the Amazon. 6 of them to be exact. And I believe there's 12 of us. So there's 12 of us. We're going to make 6 motorcycles, 2 per motorcycle, you know, team up, however you got to do it. But in order to start making those motorcycles, we need a material we haven't created yet. In all 173 chapters of Dr. Stone, I never realized we never made rubber. Something that we use in everyday life, in almost everything. I did not realize until I read Dr. Stone how often we use rubber. Like, rubber is practically in everything we use. But it's not going to be that easy to obtain rubber, as it's going to cost us a detour and a lot of time management, and we already are short on time. Stanley Snyder is still pursuing us. So if we deviate to create motorcycles, to create rubber, that just gives Stanley Snyder more time to catch up to us. Or rather, we're out of time, because Stanley Snyder has found us. Bitch, when I read this part of the chapter, I was like, what? Stanley Snyder's already on top of us, and we ain't made it to the Amazon. We haven't made it to the origin of the petrification weapon, and we haven't made Rubber. Oh God, we're dead. We're dead. That's when we had a brand new character on his Kingdom of American Science, whose name is, well, we don't learn his name, but he's like Yukio's counterpart. Like, he's another person that's like good with like sonar activity and data, but we don't learn his name yet, but we can tell he's on the same level, if not a little bit higher than Yukio as far as like sonar technology and detection. Now, one thing that does annoy me about the Kingdom of Science in North America, because we're not naming a lot of these characters, I can only identify them by their faces. I don't know who these characters are. So it makes it hard to be like, oh, this is another character that needs to go on the tier list, or this is an important character. Like, I can tell you're an important character, but because I can't put a name to your face, it makes it hard to like know who you're going to be. But I also love that both Kingdom of Sciences have their like counterparts to each other. Senku and Zeno, Stanley Sider, Taiju, the Muscle Woman Tsukasa, because we don't know her name, Yukio's counterpart, this guy with a target on his head. Like, we have counterparts, and we saw that as well in the Kingdom of Stone army and stuff like that. But thanks to Chelsea's kite, we managed to use them to catch wind and act as sails to basically like outmaneuver the opposing ship, like give us more speed. And because our ship's kind of lightweight compared to theirs, it gives us a boost, which is pretty creative and pretty cool. I like that the kites played another role. As Senku said, everything in science can be used for something else. But this is only a temporary fix. The real way to trick Stanley Sider, or at least stay ahead of him, is to get our hands on Rubber and to split into two teams. So once again, we are splitting up again. One, a divergent team that will use the Panama Canal to hopefully distract the enemy, and the other is the Rubber fetching team. But Senku warns, after 37 years, the Panama Canal is most likely sealed up. This is a real thing in America. I mean, obviously, Dr. Stone using real things, but I didn't actually know what the Panama Canal was. It's apparently like this like tight little river between South America and I think North America, and it's like it's very dangerous to like drive through or like maneuver through. Whoever is on this team will most likely be cornered by Stanley Sider and shot up and filled with holes. They are a sacrificial team, and this horrifies the crew, even myself as a reader, but I knew there would be a twist. The Kingdom of Science has a no-kill rule. We don't kill anybody. So I obviously knew like the twist would be like it's going to be a decoy ship that's empty, but Stanley Sider's going to fall for it because he doesn't know if Zeno's on that ship or not. So I already knew that was coming before I even turned the chapter. I was like, we don't kill people. Stanley Sider might think we're willing to kill people. We're willing to sacrifice people, but we don't do that. But we don't get to see who's on that ship just yet. That's one of like the twists the author's trying to play up. But he was also doing it for the villain, for the story. So it makes narrative sense. Only that the two teams are split up, that's all we see. At least that's what I thought. Because Senku put the ship on autopilot, as I had said. As I said, well, that's what he makes you think, not as I thought. Because I said I already figured it out. But Senku put the ship on autopilot, and I also love how the only ones who are sad about it are Taiju, Chrome, Kaneki, Taiju, Chrome, Kaseki, and Sukiya. I found that hilarious. They're just like, our ship! They're crying about it. Everybody else in Kingdom of Science is like, yeah, we need to get rid of that. It doesn't matter. Kaseki, because he loves building shit. I don't know why Sukiya is. I guess Sukiya is sad because it's like a toy ship to her. Despite Stanley can see through their little plan, the smallest doubt means that he has to investigate it. Like Stanley said, like, I know no one's on that ship. I know Zeno's not on that ship, but you might think that I would think that, so you would do that. So he's like, even though I have the smallest doubt, I'm still gonna go check it out. After all, if there's even a 30% chance that they're on the second ship to the Panama Canal, it means they can escape. Even if it's closed, that would be a lot of time for that would be a lot of time for them to come up with a second plan for them to get away. So basically, the Kingdom of Science is relying on the Panama Canal being open or not. Like, if it's closed and Stanley Sider chases them and corners them and destroys the fake ship, that's fine. They bought themselves a lot of time. But if it does make it to the Panama Canal, then Stanley Sider is going to chase that ship, hopefully crash. We're not trying to kill him, but hopefully delay him. And it's a win-win for us. But Stanley Sider, like I said, he's going after it regardless. He's like, I have to take the risk, even though it might be a waste of time. But that definitely allows us to collect rubber from a tree uninterrupted. I didn't know we make rubber from trees. I learned that for myself. And I won't show it. But even with Zeno, with his love of science, he immediately helps the group to craft some. I love that Zeno is willing to help, even though he doesn't doesn't care about our Kingdom of Science, but like he's interested in finding the origin of the Medusa weapon, the origin of the petrification light. So he's like, oh, I'll help you out. This is interesting. Why not? I also love that the first thing we crafted rubber is bouncing balls. I found that very entertaining. That was a pretty cool, cute little chapter thing. And everybody has like a little bit of fun. I love that Senku, as he makes the scientific stuff, he makes it fun for the rest of them. So that's always awesome. As the chapter continues, Chrome and Kaseki are playing like a tug of war with the rubber, and then we get the humor that I've come to love and expect from Dr. Stone. Like as they're pulling it, one of them must go and the rubber hits them in the face. We've all done that as kids, you know. You hold that, you stretch that rubber really far, and then it whips back in your face. Yeah, we're all used to that. Everybody's done it. Don't even lie, say you haven't done it. Rubber can only stretch so far before it snaps back and hits you in the face, and unfortunately this time, Chrome got to experience that. Chrome got to experience the pain of getting hit by a rubber band that you stretched out too far. Meanwhile, Kohaku, per usual, is casually bouncing and controlling the rubber balls as though it's nothing. She's controlling it like it's a basketball. Like she's a basketball player that's played basketball her entire life, even though she's never done it. I just love Kohaku when she's showing off. It's just fucking hilarious. Again, just the humor you get from Dr. Stone. Very great. We also get a cool history lesson that Christopher Columbus was the first to discover rubber, but since they didn't know what to do with it, it sat around for 200 years. Bring it up in your next history lesson in class. I put that in my notes. I thought it was pretty cool. Like, you know, when your teacher's talking about Christopher Columbus, you can be like, hey, did you know Christopher Columbus was the first to discover rubber, but they didn't know what to do with it, so it sat around the world for 200 years because people were just like, oh, well, that's cool. Don't know what to do with that thing. That's pretty cool. I would bring it up. And hopefully that's historically accurate. I haven't double checked that, but I trust the writer, Dr. Stone. I trust how smart he is and how much he's done with the story. I trust that he definitely figured that out. After that, we get a good hard work from Taiju while Senku explains how to make a tire at home, which is pretty neat. And at the end, we have the tires for our motorcycle. So again, Dr. Stone is teaching us how to do these things at home. I don't know. I would have to make a tire, but, you know, maybe one day my tire goes out and I want to go buy one, so maybe I can make a tire myself. Although, seeing the hard work Senku and the others are put in for it, I don't think I'll do that. But pretty cool to know. Pretty cool. I also love how Max and Carlos freak out as Kaseki immediately begins dismantling their ship to get materials for their motorcycle. Because you gotta remember, we're still out running Stanley Snyder. So they're like, why are you dismantling a ship? Like, Stanley Snyder's going to catch up with us. And as I said, everything in science is recycled, reused for something, can be used for another purpose. So even though Stanley Snyder's coming after us, we're going to have to ditch this ship. We're going to take motorcycle from here. But Max and Carlos, you know, their reactions would be our reactions if we think the enemy is coming after us. And our decoy mobile lab isn't going to fool them for long once they catch up to it. So once again, we have another decoy. They fell for our decoy ship. They destroyed it. They realized we're not on it. Now we got a decoy mobile lab going a different direction while we take these motorcycles a different way. And boy, do they. Once again, it's a kill on sight, even if it's just a decoy ship. Like, Stanley Snyder's like, all right, we fell for the decoy ship, but now we got to destroy this mobile lab. Even if it's a decoy, we got to destroy it. But that did allow us to make it to the other side of South Africa, where our geographer is going to give us a shortcut to the origin point. So, once again, we're ahead of Stanley Snyder. We've delayed him again, thank God, because we need to find out what this origin weapon is. We cannot have Senku be killed or anybody in our Kingdom of Science before we find out what the weapon is that petrified all of humanity. And now that we're here, we're ditching our ship, dismantling it completely into one big motorcycle and 5 baby motorcycles. I forgot why they did one big motorcycle. I forgot the reason. I think it might be explained in my notes, but where I'm at so far, I don't specifically say it. But this is going to take a lot of time to make it, and we're on a super tight schedule now that Stanley Snyder has destroyed our bait ship and our bait mobile lab. So now we got to hustle even more, and that means putting in serious overtime. And thankfully it pays off, because in no time, Stanley Snyder has found us again. For the 3rd time, Stanley Snyder is on our ass, and he's ready to attack. But we aren't afraid, because our motorcycles are ready, and they break out in this really cool and awesome panel. I was saying, like, Autobots roll out, Kingdom of Science roll out. Fucking loved it. It was great. Anyways, guys, that's all for this video. That's the end of my notes for this chapter. Let me know what you guys think so far of the start of the South America arc. I know this video was a little bit all over the place, and I had focused more on my notes. But that's because I broke up 4 videos. The 4 videos I had separate, I combined them into one, and I was trying to make it all sound cohesive instead of like, oh, let's talk about the next video, or like open up like another YouTube video. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. This was probably a long one, so I'll see you guys next one. Talk later. Bye. Hey guys, this video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys would be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home seeking vengeance, but instead faces a choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99. And if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far. And then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament. And the series original ending, Arado, the Legendary Konjuis Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these. But I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne, Love Be Damned, Cotton Candy, Full Moons, Fabled Lovers, A Cursed Virgin's Bite. If You Go Where Monsters Dance, Red will Rain Over Your House. Love Be Damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.